Welcome, everyone, to another fun-filled, exciting adventure with Altadena Talks. I am one of your hosts, Brian Bacchus, and guess what? Today, I am running the show by myself because Jamal is in South Carolina until the end of the week, so I'm pretty much be running this show the whole week by myself. So if it's boring to you, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to be stuck with me the whole week. Anyway, just wanted to enlighten you on that joyful experience. And then also to let you know that today is season 8, episode 379. And I was going to recap the weekend's events. However, I wasn't prepared with videos and stuff. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. But I did attend an event up I forgot. It was a lumber company that sponsored it, and I know I had it up here on Instagram somewhere, reminding me. But it was a really nice. I think it was called the Altadena Give Back Ceremony by Angel City Lumber. I just got the information right now, and so they gave away 400 charcuterie boards. And I thought that was awesome because people need information. I mean, not information. People need something to, cutting board, charcuterie board. I love meats and cheeses, breads and stuff like that. A good icebreaker at functions and whatnot. But yeah, that's where I was. I actually filmed some snippets. I was going to go live, but there was absolutely no signal there. So there's nothing I can do about that. So I just kind of recorded it and we'll get to it later as usual. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the announcements to get those out of the way. And then afterwards, we will find out who's joined us. In fact, I'm looking to see, where I am. Welcome today. As you guys know, I'm going to be looking around the screen. I'm going to probably be looking crazy because there's usually 3 of us. And we all have our different jobs that we do. And so today's job for me is to do everything. So I'll be the one that's popping up the comments. I'll be popping up the questions and answering them. So far, welcome aboard Cherie Amore, 35, and Lionessie. Welcome. If you haven't been here, it's your first time. We are the longest running podcast on earth talking about Altadena. This is our 379th straight podcast. We don't do the weekends. We save those for special events. But if you don't know my backstory, I lost my home in the fire. I started this as a therapeutic way to help me cope with it while I helped others. And it's turned into a nonprofit. It's turned into 8 initiatives we have. We have a youth media workforce program, neighbors helping neighbors, yard cleanup, wellness events. Of course, the podcast is one of our programs. We're developing an app for smart TV so that older people or people that are visually impaired can watch us on their smart TVs. We have a wiki for our disaster recovery platform. We have another initiative called the Disaster Voices Lab. You can find that at disastervoiceslab.org. That is my pet project because when we experienced this situation with the fire, there was no boots on the ground, anything. It was all nonprofits helping out, but no one outside of Altadena knew that. And so we made it our priority to create a podcast to bring you all of the different things that are going on around Altadena so that you can be aware and keep abreast of any community events and things of that nature. Last year, there were 1,500 events. We announced 750 of them. Our main goal is to get you informed and keep you informed about what's going on in Altadena, and I hope we've been doing a good job. But getting back to the Disaster Voices Lab, we created a prototype kit, and I'm hoping that I can get all the brands that I used in this kit on board to possibly create me a prototype kit that they donate. I would like to get at least 5 of them so that the next disaster happens, I can contact somebody there, send them this kit, and they can get boots on the ground ready to go uh, information for and become media. So you can find out more about that on our disastervoiceslab.org website. I hope I have it up here somewhere. If I don't, then I will put it because I'm not going to hold you up from getting the information. Let's see if I can create this real quick. Yeah, I think that's it. I have to go check. I think that's it. Find out for sure. Yeah, well, that takes you to the actual platform. That doesn't take you, so I'm gonna have to take that off and put Disaster Voices Lab. So bear with me, sorry. So I can at least get that to you so that you can go check it out. But we are proud of our progress with this. Excuse me, I'm actually going to pull it up on the screen so you kind of get a bird's eye view if you can't get to it right now. Let's see, take off caps. All right, let's pull this over here. And show you our so I can get back to the screen. There we go. All right, so this is what the website looks like. And as you can see, we have some buttons: join the community, start training, launch your network. And I'm not going to really go through the whole site, but it's just basically we created what we call the DVL Disaster Media Kit. I'm going to take you to that particular link up here. And this will consist of 2 cell phones registered and activated for the region that we're sending it to, a roadcaster video switch so that in case they're inside, they can already have things set up. These 2 black boxes up here at the top are wireless mics. I actually send 2 sets. One that connects to the cell phone. The other one connects to the switcher. So you have all your information of all your components for every aspect of it. And let me see if I can zoom in on this. So this is what it would look like. It would come in this case. It have the 2 phones, the power supply, the kit, everything you need to get started. You would open up the kit, power up the devices. Everything comes fully charged. We will also create the channels for you because you're in that disaster area. You might not have time to do that. So we create everything with the email ready for you, ready to go. Phones come pre-configured, everything. And then you would see the little ring light and stuff right here so that when you're out in the field, you'll be able to communicate with people and bring it back to the audience that you're trying to reach, as well as comes with tripods, one pods, and training. So this is something that I was one of my pet projects, and it's still in development. And I saw that Cherie says, I thought about your disaster kit for Boyle Heights lineage logistics fire. Stuff like that is there's local news, so it's really not a disaster. There's like ours, the media left. after about 10 days, and they were no longer here. So it kind of put a dent in getting out information, disseminating information to people. And in turn, that's how our podcast got spawned. There was nothing, nobody was talking about us. Nobody was talking about us to us. So, we decided let's not beat around the bush. Let's be the bush and get this thing going. So it would be more so like Sharif for like Haiti or Jamaica, where all communications have been lost because that region of the side of the island has been burned or destroyed or what have you. And so, this is why I came up with this, because we had to be this. This is how we started. So Marcus, hey, I saw a concert. It looks like something cut off. I got to go back and find the other part. But it says, "Morning V, this is a great concept." Oh, maybe he was thinking about concept. Hey, I'm just trying to make this a better place. Make it a overall access for everyone type thing, because you shouldn't be blacked out or left in the dark when you are going through a disaster. You need information, and information is key. And the events are great and everything, but if you can't find out where they are, how to go about getting there, and then what's the point? I mean, everyone is not on social media. That's why we broadcast to 10 different platforms. We're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. I even have an automation to go to different company pages on LinkedIn, so the followers that are on those pages can still get the information. They don't have to necessarily follow me on it. But the whole point is we're trying to build the disaster brand. That's a bad word to use, because I'm not trying to brand anything. But since we live in a storytelling branding world, I'm going to use that term. So this is going to be a brand for disasters to go to. When they go to search disaster, I want to be able to be at the top of the list for this Disaster Voices Lab, so that people will know where to go. And then we evaluate the situation, because you're going to get people that's going to be doing fraud and stuff like that. So you got to really be careful. Hopefully I can reach out to influencers in that area that have a reputation, so that we can go ahead and get them the equipment that they need to be able to pull this off when they have to go into situations like this. I did see that there was one influencer during the Haiti situation, Jamaica situation a few months back, that actually was concerned about it, but she didn't live there, but her following brought impact. So you don't necessarily have to live there to bring impact, but you do not need to live there to utilize this kit, because it's made for boots on the ground at the moment of a disaster. I mean, I saw the San Antonio flood. They needed it there. They needed it a few places, And so this is basically why we created this, so that we could be a beacon of hope and light for other folks that are, in this situation. I don't have that many announcements today, since Jamal is the one that normally does the announcements. So I'm going to pull from the archives, I believe, of what I do have. And so let's go ahead and switch over to that screen. Okay, so today, for immediate release, the Community Leaders Unite in support of SB 1090 ahead of Assembly Committee hearing. A press conference is today, what already happened at 9 a.m. at 425 East Los Flores. I don't know where that was, but we will find out soon enough as to what was said at the release, at the press conference. Hey, I thought I was in
at the press conference.
Oh, well, then you can speak right on. I can Look, I can leave that up there. You jumped in right in time. You saved me. I was over here struggling.
I know. I was on the freeway and I was like, should I log in? No, let me get home real quick. So yeah, I just came from the press conference this week. Hi everybody. This week I am not probably just on Friday gonna go out because we've done like 13 days straight practically, and I'm a little bit tired.
Oh, I bet you are.
Yeah, of being on these lots. And it's a little discouraging when some of the orgs in the beginning are like they're super gung ho and then they fall off and don't communicate that they're not, going to help as much. Or people want their lots clean for free, but they don't want to come and help neighbors clean their lots. So that part is very discouraging, and I'm like, So so I went to the press conference this morning, and it's funny because on ABC7, when you see it, I'm like front and center. I got because the town council.
You are the main event.
No, the town council. As soon as they saw me, they were like, come here," and everybody was hugging me. I said, "I feel I'm an honorary town council member, huh?" They were like, "Yeah, because you be us and speaking up." But Nick opened it, and then he gave the floor to Darlene Green, who is an attorney who is on the legislative. She's the lead for the legislative committee for the town council because she is an attorney. Excuse me. So she spoke about why SB 1090 is so important, and just gave a little history or background on the fact that SB 1090 was never intended for what these developers want to do now, which is get a lot and maybe split it into 10 parcels, right? Now, of course, it has to be big enough. Where we were was 425 East Los Flores. And
what are you doing? Opening up some packages or something?
Yeah, sorry. And the lady that was there, I was moving things on my desk. It's a mess right now. And the lady that was there was talking about, that was her lot. And she was like, just look at my lot. They could literally, it's like 3 parcels, but 1 big lot. And she's like, they could split this and put 30 homes. But when you look around the lot, it's like, no, they couldn't. 30 homes could not fit on that lot. 30 units, that's something different. So one thing that I've noticed is some of these organizations tend to be exaggeratory, if that's a word. Or I just made that word up. They exaggerate a little bit more, and I think it's for press conferences and all that, and to make it like, we're so desperate because this is what could happen. And some of the signs in Altadena that they have on Altadena Drive or at some other lots say, this is going to become 10 houses. But again, when you look at the size of the lot, there's no way 10 houses, because you have to have certain amount of setback. You have to have certain amount of space between a home and another home. There has to be that, 5 feet around or whatever. So it cannot be 30 houses, but that's the word that they use. There could be a development that's put up and it could be 30 units. And so that's a different story, right?
Right.
So, and mind you, they could only be like two stories, So I think that part of it is almost like we're going to say it like this because then it will get people on board because they'll be fearful. And we see that that's a tactic that's used in everyday politics everywhere now, is scare tactics. Let's make it over exaggerated so that people think this is what it is. Right. But what I can tell you is Darlene Green broke it down very well. Her and Nick Arnzen are going up to the Capitol. There are 2 hearings on Wednesday, because effective Wednesday is when they will vote on SB 1090. And there will be one of 2 things that happen. It will pass both chambers and then go to the governor to sign as law, or it will be defeated and all 49 applications that have been canceled, they could then go back and ask for those permits and be granted the permits. So if you have not called your legislature or written an email letter, please do so, because It's very important. I also met in person Shauna today. Shauna Beard.
Uh
And it was funny because I was standing there talking to somebody, and this man, this white dude, keeps turning around looking at me, right? He has his cowboy boots on,
huh.
looking. So I do like this. I'm like, hello. And he was like, oh, hi. You know me. I was like, hello. He was like, oh, hi. Since you're staring like in my face, you keep turning around, like you must want to talk. So he comes over and he's like, whatever his name is, I forgot. And he shakes my hand. I said, I'm Tony. And he was like, yeah, I'm Shauna's boyfriend. I said, oh, okay. So obviously, like, you know who I am too, right? So he talks for a minute and I said, look, let me tell you what my issue is, and I will be talking to her. I said, what I do want to tell her is absolutely what she said today in support of SB 1090 is on point. I said, my issue that I've had with her is this whole narrative of west of Lake and dividing Altadenians to be east versus west. And Lake is not the dividing street. It is freaking Fair Oaks, So then she's like, well, but she listened to that little girl, Larsul, who was on that call we were on that day, who's like, well, the boundaries for redlining. I said, you know how long ago that was? I said, that was well before. I said, because if you know anything truly about Altadena, because you've been here long enough, you know that there were lots and lots and lots of Black folks on the east side of Lake. And I said, which is where my family's home was, and all this. I said, or lot is, and they're rebuilding. So I said, and there were tons, like not every house, like on the western side, but you got 4, 5, 6 Black families on a block, and others white, Asian, Latino. I said, we were very diverse on the east side. I said, but the realtors started that crap in the early 80s when we're going to call this the Altadena Highlands or the Altadena whatever. Is because they wanted to gentrify and get certain demographics in there. So he was like, oh, again, Shauna been here 12, 15 years. She doesn't know enough about Altadena to be making statements that I said. And so when she was done talking, she came over and I said, hello. And I said, I know you know who I am. She was like, yeah. I said, I'm Tony. Oh, so nice to meet you. And we shook hands. And so I said, I want you to stop with this narrative, this West of Lake stuff, that they only West of Lake, y'all saved yourselves. East of Lake saved themselves too. She goes, oh, I know now. I know. Right. But in the beginning, you got all these signs, these hats. She was wearing a hat today that said West of Lake, Altadena, California. But it makes no sense because that's division. We are all one zip code. We are all one Altadena, and quit. And then they said the Altadena something. What is this? Arts Historic District, whatever they're trying to say, is from Lake to Lincoln, Woodbury to Loma Alta. That's where all the Black people live. And I said, oh, so that's another thing I'm getting ready to have to fight. Because I'm telling you, I feel like I'm going to email or call Rob Bonta's office today. That investigation that you're doing is crap, because you need to come to the east side where lots of Black folks have been since the 60s and 70s. And know not only on the other side of Lake, because it's just not the truth. He said, that's CP barbecue. Yeah. Oh, but check this out. What I did, I said, so give me your number. So we exchanged numbers. Actually, I put in the phone and I called her and I said, because we need to talk, because I agree with you there, Chris, but somebody got to rein her in, and it might just be me. Because she was like, well, I think we would get along great because we're both fiery women. I said, but again, you only been here 2 years, Shauna.
Also, you got to speak facts. When she said that we paid $300 million in property taxes during the pandemic, I had to step up and say something, because I'm like, Pasadena is 3 times the residents.
Period.
And they only paid $120 million in property taxes. So how could we have paid $300 million? I'm like, more like $50 million.
I said, Shauna, you're dealing with a bunch of these younger kids. And when I say younger kids, they might be in their 30s, because that's what my kids are, right? You've been here 12, 15 years. That little Larsul girl and others are in their 30s, and they think they know everything. And they're, I'm head of this. I'm on SC Justice. They're doing good things, right?
And
but
that's great.
don't only go to people your age or that you know in your little area and act like that's for all of Altadena. When I had a talk with Heavenly, she flat out told me, well, that's not the historical Black part. I said, that's bullcrap. There's plenty of us that are on that side of the lake. And she was like, well, we couldn't go on that side of the lake. I said, who is we? Because we grew up on that side of the lake. So what are you talking about? Black people couldn't go on Easter Lake. And she was like, she had to admit her mother told her they couldn't go over there. So again,
that's her era of the situation.
Exactly. And that is probably handed down from somebody, because when redlining was going on and a lot of Blacks bought in Altadena, they were told buy over in Northwest Altadena, west of Fair Oaks. So my thing is, and this is what I told Shauna, I said, you need to sit down with people that know the facts of Altadena, that we have been here for 4, 5, 6 decades. Talk to us so you can learn something. And then you can speak intelligently about, exactly. Then you can speak intelligently about what it is. And then she told me, she said, I look white, Tony. She said, but I'm not. And so she wanted to give me a little bit of her history. She very much was like Mark Marisco. Mark Marisco passes all the way for white because he ain't got nothing but white. But he's
Mexican. Started speaking Spanish.
Right, but he's Mexican. And a lot of people don't know that. And then he, then she told me, she said, I'm actually Mexican American mixed with something. She said, but I know I present as white. She said, but I grew up in Glassell Park. I said, I know where Glassell Park is. And she was like, well, I grew up there. And our house was taken, I think she said in the 80s, because of a flood, and then eminent domain. And then
Chris can tell you, that's on here right now, CP Barbecue, their whole families was taken because of the 210 eminent domain.
Well, that's what I told her. I said, look, I said, I understand what you're saying. I said, but prior to that, there were Blacks and Japanese and some white folks, primarily Blacks and Japanese, who came from LA and settled in Pasadena. Allison Moses' family, right? Also was displaced from Pasadena, where the train station was, Vernon and all that, where people don't even know the history. And eminent domain for that stupid extension to the 210, 710 that never did and is never going to happen, that's been sitting there, 60 years? And their families were displaced and were told go buy, but they were told to go buy in Northwest Altadena. So this little Larsul girl is always talking about, well, it's because of the redlining in Altadena. No, stop it. Because my parents bought in 1968 on Wapello and Mount Curve, where their lot still is and they are rebuilding. So you can't tell me we couldn't buy over there in the 60s, because that is a lie. Monica Woods has the best story. Her family is on Pepper, just north of New York. And they didn't want none of us over there. She said her parents went looking, her mother fell in love with their house on a Friday. And instead of it being, okay, let's get this contract going, the realtor, because they did this to my mama and them too a little bit, but not quite like this. But the realtor told them, we need $14,000 for your deposit or your down payment by Sunday at 5 p.m. on a Friday. Banks used to close at 4 o'clock in the 72. Wasn't no banks open on the weekends in 1972, because that's when they bought. And so what her daddy did, because he was in construction, he called a bunch of his homeboys, because Black folks would keep some money at the house, right? Always. He gathered up his 14 racks and went and put that down payment on that house on Pepper, north of New York, and they've been there since then. But the hoops that they would take you through once the redlining was lifted was stuff like that. And then a lot of people, and we talked about this months ago, didn't understand the covenant statement on the deeds, that this house cannot be sold to Negroes or African Americans or whatever, right? Other than white folks back in the day. And so we talked about that and how we had the county assessor address how people can get that off their deeds now, if they found after the fire took their house, when they went and got a replacement deed from the county, that this restrictive covenant was on there, how you can go and get a new deed and it's not on there. So when it's people like her, right a block down from us, Chris. Yeah, literally a block down. And so that's what I'm saying. We were literally, if you draw a straight line on all them corners, from us on Wapello, down to Athens, down to Alta Vista, down to Dolores, down to Poppy Fields, every single one of them houses on each corner was Black owned. And I know everybody, I probably know who your aunt is, Chris. But everybody
we used to say all the fine girls lived over there. That was west of Lake to us. All the parties, well, Easter Lake, all the parties we used to have to walk all the way up Lake to go to.
Right. And that's my point. That's what I told her today. I said, evidently, you've never ventured on our side of the lake to know enough. It's people. I got an aunt lives on Calaveras, where Allen, you turn and you can either do Midwick or Calaveras, right there on Calaveras. Been there since early 70s. Like a lot of us bought, or our parents purchased, in the 60s and early 70s, before even 75. I went to Audubon, Loma Alta, Elliott. Then I got sent to private school for 2 years and went to Alfredo.
Then you went to McWilliott.
Elliott McWilliott. Then I went to, I do know them. And right there on Mount Low, we called it the Greens. They call it Mount Low Parkway now, because that's the name of the street, but we call it the Greens, because that's where we always went. Right by Rubio Crest, up Mount Curve, all down, all that. It's so many Black families that people just don't, on Poppy Fields, on Athens, like throughout, and people don't know. And so the gentrifiers have tried to say, and so I told her, I said, stop with this narrative that only west of Lake saved yourself. I said, because we did on Easter Lake too. I said, and my family lost 2 houses in the fire. I said, so.
That's funny. I used to live on Rubio Canyon for like 3 years.
Rubio and what?
When you first go up Main Lane and you make a right, and then you go around, it's almost 2 curves, and it was 3149. There was some big giant boulders in front of the house.
You was my neighbor.
That was Donnell Watson's mom's house. She rented it to me for 3 years.
Oh, that was when you were grown.
Oh yeah, I was about 23, something like that. I was doing promotions, making a lot of money, so I wanted to live luxurious. So I was on West of Lake for like 3 years.
No,
Thought I was
East
fresh.
of Lake.
Excuse me, I don't know why I keep saying that. East of Lake.
But that's the whole thing. There are so many of us that grew up there, whose parents still are there, or they're in that house, that have been there since the 60s and 70s. So this whole narrative of Altadena is a historically Black town, I will shout it from my rooftops forever. No, it's not. The Woodburys founded Altadena. They were not white. The brothers, they were white. They were not Black. A town being a historically Black town is when it's founded by Black folks and they basically run it, right? Like we've seen in the South, lots of towns, Midwest and South. So Altadena, number one, is not a historically Black town. I really wish that narrative would go away. And I think it was, what's his name?
You know what it was? It's a lot of people, all the Black people think this is a historically Black town.
Not all the Black people.
Well, majority of the ones that I went to school with, because of how many Black people were going to the school. So you thought everybody in town lived in Mount Dean was Black. But on my street in Mountain View, where I lived when I went to high school, there was a lady across the street who was white who owned a horse ranch, and she told us if we brushed her horses, we could ride them. There was a Mexican family over here. There was a Cambodian family over here. Right. It's like you we are on the same street as 5 acres, so there was a lot of white people lived right there. But then the bus driver that I knew lived closer to Casitas, and a few people that I knew.
Now let me say this. I'm not negating, and I don't want anybody to come on like, oh, Tony's anti-Black, whatever, because no, I'm not. I'm rooting for Black folks every day, all day. And I'm not negating how many of us have owned and lived in Altadena. There are fabulous amounts of Black people. But when you look at statistics, when you look at the census data or whatever, from when they start taking the census, we've never been a historically Black town. Yes, there are a lot, but stop saying we're historically Black town, number one. And Zaire told me he's the one that started it, telling Ben Crump that to get national attention. So he started a lie. Flat out. He started a lie. And he told me that. Because, for a minute, I wasn't even speaking to him. And then when he did talk to me on a trip up north, he told me, he said, Tony, I'm the one, started that. I told Ben Crump. I said, but it's a lie. Don't lie. And then the other narrative is they do look at, the Tillmans are literally my neighbors. They are 5 houses down from us, across from David Terry, DT. DT was 5 houses on the same side as us. Julia and Audra.
Who is also Black, Buddy White.
Julia Tillman, but even around the corner, Elaine, there was Larry and Gilbert. They lived right there on the Greens. Carrie Flowers lived on the Greens. Like, there's so many Black people. I could drive by and show you all the houses. We were never restricted from going east of Lake because we have plenty of See, exactly. The narrative of west of Lake being the west side is not necessarily correct. This is what I
think Ed Broussard lived up the street from me when I lived up Rubio Canyon.
He did.
I think he lived further up.
They were around
Maiden
the corner.
Lane.
Yeah, all of us. He was on Maiden Lane. All of us grew up together. Right there, would all meet at the greens, play football, baseball, whatever, because it was just this long green pathway of grass. Now they've made it, into walking paths and cacti and rocks and sand, and you can't go play out there.
Feng shui.
Right. It's where we could buy. Right. But what we need to do, y'all two on this screen, that's me and you, Brian, Chris, Chris, a lot of the people that grew up there, the Broussard, whoever, we need to get together and hold a press conference and negate this bull crap that didn't know Black people live east of Lake and that only west of Lake is where the Black folks were, and that's West Altadena, because it's not.
I know on that street where it had the 2 lawns. I forgot what it's called. It's the Mount Curve off of Maiden Lane.
Curve. No, it's not 2 lawns. It's all grass, and it's 2 streets that line the grass.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's 2. I call it a big lawn.
Right, that's the greens. That's where
I used to play. Oh, that's the greens. Okay, but I used to play football there.
Yeah, we would be like, "What time we going to the greens?" Everybody go to the greens because we was playing football, baseball, everything. So it's like, for people that have no clue, of all of us that grew up right there together and played together in the 70s and 80s, like, what are y'all talking about? No Black people live on Easter Lake. Like, get out of here. It's tons of us lived over there. So that's what I told Shauna. I said, y'all don't know. And you listening to these little young kids that want to have this narrative that east of Lake was historical Black Altadena. And so you negate all the Black folks that lived there even longer than some that lived east of Lake? Like, I mean, they live west of Lake, like we don't exist. We don't matter. And so she was
I found out my homeboy's mom lived off of Porter in a big giant house. And I was like, dude, you rich. And he was like, huh? Right. He didn't realize it.
No, but that's where, when our parents bought those houses, they weren't the price of they are today. My cousins lived just east of Tannibal on Loma Alta, in a big giant house that when I tell you, and I could drive you past that house and show you, David and Alonzo Wilkins, they grew up right there. And it went all the way down. There was a big pool. We had St. Bernard. They had St. Bernard. The Saints would be jumping in the pool. Ours was short hair. Theirs was long hair. And then you go down past the pool and it's a whole lot of more lot, right? And then George Edgar, his family lived right up there. I know people that lived on Zing Gray. They lived like everywhere over there. You cannot tell me Black folks didn't live all throughout, because we did. And so for somebody to be like, oh, well, blah, 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 be like, no, you're wrong. You only been here enough time for, you remember the man that I had to check at the collaboratory that day? That has lived here 35 years?
You saw him too?
Oh, he spoke today. Yeah. Oh, you know Gilbert and Larry, Marcus? Marcus must know Gilbert and Larry. But he spoke today and he was like, yeah, he lived on West off of Lincoln somewhere. And he's like, I think Palm. And he was like, I'm known for my Cajun and Creole cuisine and throwing Mardi Gras party. I want to be like,
really? I ain't never heard of it.
Right. I have like 125 people show up at my Christmas and Mardi Gras party, so some of you might want to get in on the guest list. No, we don't. Because we the came.
Who made the potato salad?
Right. We that our families are from the South or New Orleans or whatever, know how to make authentic gumbo and all of that, and we don't want to come to your little party, right? So, I was standing behind him. Watch Channel 7 today. I promise you, y'all are gonna see me behind him, like when he was talking.
Hilarious. Oh my God.
But the press conference overall was very, very good. It is in support of SB 1090. And somebody was like, well, you definitely support it. I said, absolutely, because we're one Altadena. I don't do this division, East-West bullcrap, West of Lake bullcrap. We're all. I said, and I will tell you this. I support it even though it don't affect us. And they go, what do you mean it doesn't affect you? I said, well, our house is, we're the extreme high fire risk. We're part of that new zone up there. So technically, it don't affect us. But I'm not going to be like where Audra lives, where we live. We're all rated the extreme high fire. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, but it don't affect us, so screw the rest of Altadena. No, this is my town. Like, I'm going to support everything that happens with Altadena for the better. So I wanted to make sure people understood that, because they were like, oh, but don't get it twisted.
Deshaun, you are absolutely right. That's exactly what we're doing.
No, we're just telling the truth.
That's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's like they had this skit where the man is going out and he tells his wife, I don't love you anymore. I'm leaving you. I found somebody else better. And I never liked you anyway. And he walks out the door. But what he really said is, hey, I'm going to my mom's.
Wait, you're Audra's cousin? Julia's your aunt? So your uncle, Oren, is later down the block on our same side on Wapella. All the waters. So let me tell you something. It was funny because when I had the groundbreaking on the 30th, Julia came because I invited her. I told Audra, you and your mama come to the groundbreaking. And you saw him. But she was telling somebody, she said, we've known Tony since I was like 11 or 12, because that's when they moved into our neighborhood. That's when she bought that house, and Oren bought a couple years later on the same side of the block as us. So yes, Chris, all of us been there all this time together, which is why we say Dina. Exactly, because we're not going to be divided with the foolishness. We are one Dina, one Altadena, not East versus West. That's what these younger Black folks, and I say in their 30s.
It's never been there. I don't even know that was a thing.
Man, this West East. Like, go somewhere and sit down. And somebody said, well, you know, us on the west side. I said, what are you talking about? This was at the lot. I said, we're at 425 East Los Flores. You're in East Altadena right now.
I know, you got to go by that.
She was like, well, no, yes. Where do the addresses change? West of Fair Oaks. That's the west side. Y'all with this west of Lake being the west side of Altadena, knock it off. So I told a few people that on the lot today. I know they was like, this lady, man. I said it. Now let me do say this to everyone. Let me say this. There are a lot of Black orgs out here doing good work, and I'm appreciative of that. And we're one of them, right? But when you need to show up, you need to show up. There were a handful of us at this press conference today. And I know it's been publicized all over. And all the Black orgs that are doing all this, we can't keep segregating, having our meetings over here, and they doing their own meetings, and we don't integrate for what's best for Altadena. Also, Saturday, we were up cleaning lots on Concha, and Ian drove by. And I literally looked at him, and I was like, Ian! And he slammed on the brakes, and he went down the street and turned around. I said, you knew it was me? He said, I knew your voice. When I heard Ian, I was like, that gotta be Tommy. He did some filming. He's doing the documentary stuff constantly. So he did some filming of the people on the lots cleaning it. And then he said, but I gotta be at the collaboratory at 10. I said, for what? he said for the meeting, this meeting is the one where they're deciding how they want Altadena to look. These commercial, the development, the county people that is Altadena Steadfast, if you all don't know, came from LA Steadfast, which is Rick Caruso. Now, we need to, okay, I'll go for that. CP, yeah, economical versus not racial. You're right, but they keep trying to make it as it's racial. But I need, and I hate to say it like this, but Black Altadena, because they keep saying we're Black Altadena. So if y'all want to call yourself Black Altadena instead of just Altadenians who happen to have melanin in their skin, I need all y'all people to come out to these important things like this press conference. Because and if you have not called or written to Senator Sasha Renee Perez's office or John Harabedian or whatever, the vote is on Wednesday. And again, they're going to do one of two things. They're going to vote, yes, we can have SB 1090 in, right? And it becomes law, or it's going to be no. And the 49, I will say it again, the 49 applications that have been canceled will go into effect. They can reapply and they can subdivide these lots. Now, one of the big things about this is, and which makes 1090 so important, if you read SB 9 and SB 1132, 1132 is where they can buy and subdivide the lots up to 10 lots if it's a big enough lot. SB 9 allows for more density housing, and it was initially thought to be a good thing because it means somebody can put an ADU in their backyard for their children or their elderly parents, or to have.
That's what it was meant for.
That's what it was meant for. And the same with SB 32. However, there is verbiage in these laws that state we have to be urban infill, which means 2/3 or 75% of the buildings have to be built. Altadena is not at that right now after a fire. And so developers, just like they keep calling it Punahou, which I hate because we called it Punahou growing up. And somebody else was like, oh, it's Punahou. And I'm like, whatever, it's Punahou. But they that live there call it Punahou now. And they were there because that's where that 411 Punahou is, where they're building a 5-unit apartment complex. And each unit is going to be 1,200 square feet. And so the people are mad because that one, they found out not only verbally, but in writing, the person or the developer or whatever who purchased this land, they said they were Asian, or this is what was said today. Apparently they were Asian, but they came in with this money and lied, even in writing, and said they were buying it for their family to build a house. And instead, they're putting this property up. And I guess this guy has a track record of doing this and buying properties at distressed market rates and then reselling them to developers. So I think he bought this saying he was buying it for his Chris, I'm so glad, or Elaine, I'm so glad you said that. It says TJ was in Central, and I know there was a West Little League. There was West Altadena Little League was played at Loma Alta Park. Us at Farnsworth was Central Altadena Little League. That's where we was kicking everybody's butt with Pancal Constructions team that had everybody from Kerry Flowers to Frank Belmonte to Peter Houston, because Peter Houston and Lisa Houston, they lived right there above the park on Mount Curve. But like all these black families. Anyway, let me go back to this because you threw me off with that, Elaine. Don't comment nothing more, Elaine, while I'm talking.
Be quiet when grown folks is talking.
Right. No, I just have to not look at the comments. But,
well, because Elaine have you on a whole different path.
On a whole different tangent. Like, Elaine, stop commenting until I finish this thought. But so anyway, the whole
good information.
Yeah, with the Punahou, and I'm always call it Punahou because that's what we always called it. They're calling it Punahou now, but Punahou. And so they're mad, and I get it, because now you're going from having a single family home to an apartment complex with 5 units. That sucks. For real, for real. That sucks. So it's super important that we get as many supporters. Matter of fact, Darlene Green is going, and she said, Tony, I was going to call you the other day because they didn't have no Black people going. Mind you, she's a lawyer who heads up the legislative committee at the town council, and Catherine Berger's office picked who was going to go and testify. What? Right. So, and it's another thing people should be upset about. She's going to call me later and tell me, but she said, oh, it's some land grab type stuff going on with the collaboratory folks, because they got this new executive director in there, but they just had applications out for people who want to sit on the board, and Shauna applied, and she said not one person, it hasn't even been announced yet, but not one person from Altadena is on that board. Just like what is it called? The ARRC or whatever, Altadena Recovery something, where Catherine Barger and her husband are board members, which is a conflict of interest because she is our supervisor. And this is not a nonprofit. This is a full for profit who want to try to decide what Altadena looks like and what gets built. That is a major conflict of interest that I am going to scream from the mountaintop too. So people know about that corruption and that BS and this collaboratory stuff. But from the very beginning, I said, I don't want to be a part of that collaboratory mess because it's 100 plus organizations. And we talked about it.
Too many chiefs.
Too many chiefs, too much mess and all that. And I'm glad we have never truly been a part of it.
And we were unanimous on that decision.
We were. And so people don't investigate enough. And then at this meeting on Saturday, it is Altadena Steadfast. I was on a couple meetings, y'all. Then all of a sudden, I never got any more emails because every time I go, I'm going to say what needs to be said. And so I said, when I got there, I got there at 10:30, but they were going over some stuff. They want to put a roundabout, y'all, at Lake and Altadena Drive. I said, what is wrong with you? No.
More accidents would happen.
More accidents would happen. They're like, well, we need to slow traffic.
That street is too big. There's too much traffic. A big,
ugly roundabout that will also have an archway saying "Welcome to Altadena" or something. That ain't where Altadena starts.
No,
and we don't want that. And if people keep talking about, well, in Europe, we're not Europe, and we're not a city either. That's what I literally said.
Here's the thing: when these houses are all built back, and you got a roundabout there, I fear for people having to go to work.
Exactly. Not only
it's going to take 30 minutes to get from Loma Alta to Altadena Drive.
So these are their concepts. And then what they want to do on Mariposa, Mariposa's 2 lanes on each side, right? They want to take 12 feet and extend the curb, have sidewalk an additional 12 feet north and south, and put a windy 1-lane Mariposa, 1 lane on each side for Mariposa. I was like, that's stupid. Let me tell y'all. Now, you want to talk about cutting up? I'd be in these meetings calling them out. Nope, we don't want that. And all these people are not from Altadena, but they're urban planners that want to try to plan Altadena. No, you don't get to change Altadena. We get to keep Altadena how we want it, not you changing every little thing. Oh, we need more shade on Mariposa. We need more shade on...
we needed more shade by not cutting down all the trees.
All the trees, right. And so they have all these plans because they want to make it, just go look at Montrose. We're not Montrose. We're not Sierra Madre. That's the kind of stuff they want to do. Make us like a Montrose.
Wait. Where's the roundabout by Blair? I don't think I've experienced that.
It's on Los Robles.
You're talking about the one El Molino and Glenarm. Is that what you're talking about?
Los Robles and Glenarm. No, not on Glenarm. Yeah, Glenarm, but Los Robles. And then the stupid one that Pasadena put in on Hill at Topeka. That's way too big for that intersection.
You should see the fire trucks.
They go straight over it.
Right over it.
Their wheel goes straight over it. It's like, what are y'all doing? Okay, Marengo, Los Robles, one of the two. I guess.
Oh, wait, they put one on Marengo now?
Marengo and Glenarm is what they're saying, not No, it's not Amarillo. It's Los Robles.
No, they're going to put one there. That'll be a horrible thing. Do
No.
you know that how much traffic it is coming down Marengo to get on the 110?
Exactly.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's at Los Robles. It's not at Marengo. It's Los Robles. Because I've traveled on Los Robles and been like, this stupid roundabout. But what they want to do is put a
people
roundabout.
are dumb. They don't know how to turn.
So what I need y'all to start doing as soon as I get, because they were like, oh, we're going to add you back on the emails. Y'all better. Because I told Ian, let me know.
How did you even get taken off? I'm going to add you back.
Right. And then, this is why they took me off. Because they don't want somebody speaking up.
Somebody on that team need to be forwarding them to you.
Right. So Hans did. He forwarded me something yesterday. Not about that, but something else. And then this lady, a black chick that says she's on the board, she took my information.
Yeah, don't drop no names because they might drop them off.
I don't know her name. I don't even know her name. I looked at her name tag, but it didn't stay in my head. I just know she said she's on the board and she's a black woman. So, but they were like, well, Tony, we've reached out to all the black orgs and all the black churches. And I said, no, you haven't. I said, because I can guarantee you I will have this room filled with a whole nother different demographic next time we have this meeting and with younger people, because you don't get to, I said, look at this demographic, all white folks, and a lot of them 80s, 70s, who knows what, right?
Yeah, the last of the Mohicans.
Right, but I told him, I said, send me that for the next meeting, and I promise you, the next meeting, I'm going to have a ton of people in here, and it's going to be all demographics, and there will be younger people, because what we also can't do, I'm 60, I can't plan what Altadena is going to be and ignore the younger generation whose Altadena it will be in 40 years or whatever, when I'm gone.
Or less.
Right. And so I told them, I said, so you got all these old white folks trying to plan for everybody else. Where's the Latinos? Where's the black folks? Where's the Asians? The Filipino. And I told them straight out like that. And so a bunch of people took my number down and were like, Tony, thank you. Oh my God, thank you for speaking up. And I'm like, why y'all act like you scared to say something? If you live here and you love Altadena, speak up.
A lot of times people want to speak up, but they're not as articulate as they want to be and get nervous and stuff. But hey, I always tell people, you speak the clearest when you know something for a fact. Yep. You do not stutter. You do not because when you and you're lying.
And every time I said something, people were like, yes! Like when I said the roundabout's stupid. Yeah. We don't want it. People were
saying what I wanted to say.
I wasn't speaking up for people to cheer, but then I was like, something else. They were like, yes. When I said about the demographics, I said, who are you marketing this to? Because look at the demographics in this room. And even the white people were like, yes, this is what we've been saying, Tony. So a lot of people were like, hi. And I told them about Altadena Talks and to start watching and look at our YouTube for all the episodes, all the things we do. But the fact is, like, you cannot negate a whole entire demographic of people, a whole age range of people that are coming up below us in their 30s, 40s, whatever, who's will be the caretakers of Altadena later, right? So we have to get involved. We can't segregate ourselves and be on the sideline when it comes to these important things like this press conference today or this meeting about how they want to turn Altadena. So they do want to do a bike trail that would start at Lake and go all the way to Lincoln. And I said, well, where are you going to put it? Because it can't go on Altadena Drive.
That's the worst place to ride your bike.
Right. I said, and the only other thoroughfare is Woodbury, and it really can't go there either because those are the two busiest east-west streets. And they were like, well,
the only two true thoroughfares that we have.
Right. And so what they're thinking is maybe across Mariposa to Fair Oaks, down to Ventura and over or something, and have it.
That would be a lot less dangerous.
Exactly. And then I said, and then who owns the trail?
Meaning who's going to maintain it?
Who's going to maintain it? I said, and would there be bike rentals? Would a company be allowed to do that? That would say, okay, I have e-bikes or whatever, and then they could give money back to Altadena. They'd
to help keep the trail clean.
Hello, all that. Then I talked about we need a trolley again, like the Old Town trolley we had, right? But it could be an electric trolley. And that could be something that is there. And so then this one urban planner was like, Tony, you're really futuristic. You think about the future. I'm like, duh, we're in the future. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but we're not thinking about the future of high rises in Altadena.
Right. Oh, but I brought up our Altadena community standards too, because I was like, don't think you finna build all like this. I said, because I have had negotiations or talks with realtors of the Rite Aid and the Webster's building, and they were like, oh, we're selling to developers, or the Rite Aid people, oh, well, we're thinking about tearing it down and building high-rise senior affordable living. I said, no, you're not. I said, because evidently you don't know about our Altadena community standards. You can't put high rises. And then even the lady for Webster's is still sitting for sale. When I was talking to her for somebody about it, and she was adamant that a developer was going to buy it and build an 8-story unit and parking.
The highest story you can build is that Al B building on the corner. And it's 2 stories.
Two stories. And then she was like, oh, and we're going to have a 8-story apartments and a 6-story parking garage. I was like, no, you're not. And
you can only go 3 stories parking, level 1 and level 2.
Level 2, that's it. And so she was like, oh, yes, they're going to buy it. They're already talking to me about it. And I've been around here for decades. I said, how long you been here? And she was like, 35 years. I said, where was your house? Oh, no. I'm not an Altadenan. I've been a realtor. I live in South Pass and been here 35 years and been a realtor. I told her, I said, then shut up talking crazy to me, because you don't know. And you don't know enough about Altadena, and you don't know about our Altadena community standards. So we wound up getting off the phone like that, where I told her, shut up talking about it. You don't know enough and all that.
And that's why Nashawn said we're clowning today.
She texts me, her name is Tina. She texts me the next morning. Hi, Tony. I'm so sorry about our conversation. I would love to chat with you again, because I did look up Altadena community standards and I had no idea. And da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, your hopes are shot from being a millionaire.
Yeah. And I said, and why are y'all asking $9 million for the Webster's building when the market value is 3.6? And she had no answer. And
why are you even selling it when you can just take money out and rebuild the thing? And it will flourish once the people come back. People are, that's the difference between generational wealth and just greed.
And generational occupation. Those of us that have been here for decades and a couple, 2, 3 generations, whatever, and know our town. Because that other girl, Lisa, whatever her name is, she's part of the collaboratory Day One or whatever. She had something on IG last week where she was like, yeah, in our city, Altadena, in our city. And so I commented and put, Altadena is not a city. We are an unincorporated town. Because I'm going to correct everybody.
What happened to that sports complex that they were trying to build up there by Loma Alta? Did that get squashed?
Yeah, that was Cal Poly. Or not Cal Poly, Polytech, the school. And that absolutely got squashed. It was going to be up by Training Trail or whatever. That got squashed. But yes, it's, people think they could come in Altadena and do what they want until they meet the wall of resistance, which is us.
They be seeing all that land going,
right,
I could do so much. And then somebody slaps them in the face with Altadena community standards.
Not only the community standards, right? There's a lot of conservationists, people that love our land and make sure that
the historical society and everybody.
Right. So there is a real wall of Altadenas that people do not realize exist. And they have all these grandiose ideas about what they're going to do. And it's like, I'm sorry, no, you're not. Because remember, I had to tell Shauna that in the beginning. We're going to make it a city by 2028. I said, no, you're not. Altadena will never be a city. And she was, yes, we are. They failed us. Okay, that's cool to say they failed us. Altadena will never be a city. It's been tried 6 or 7 times. And in order for it to be a city, there are too many steps. And the county will never give us the billions of dollars that they collect in revenue from Altadena, from property taxes, to become a city. And we have to have a charter, exploratory committee, and a charter. You have to have your own police and fire, or use what we already have, but we lease them and have an agreement with the county. Why do that if we're in the county and we already have them and don't pay the extra? And then you have city tax on top of your regular county tax because we live in the county. Like, there's so many steps and people just don't think. And the first thing was because they don't know, because they haven't lived here long enough to know how many times it's been defeated. Stop knee-jerk reaction to a fire and losing stuff. Oh, we need to become a city. because you don't know what the process is, how long it would take, or any of that. So that's where we're at today.
Yeah. Well,
We're at
it's
an
a
hour
good
and
thing
a
you
half.
were there, so we can find out this information, because I had no clue, to be honest.
I know that's what you think.
Next time we're gonna probably do a special report if you have to go there early, and I'll just start the show and bring you in so you can actually. You might have to hand your phone off to somebody else because you might get lit and
At the
phone be all over the place and shit.
so look, Darlene Green just texted me. She said, Tony, here's the address for State Capitol in Sacramento. The committee hearing on SB 1090 is at 9:30. She said she'll send something. It's Wednesday. Anybody that wants to go can go and be there. Could also do public comment, which would just be I support. So I might be on a plane Wednesday morning, y'all. I'll figure it out today. Oh, my sister just sent me pictures of me on on Channel 7. She watches it, and I'm right behind Nick. And once I'm like this, probably looking at my phone, and once my face was like this.
ready to strike.
Wait, can you see? No, you can't.
Angle it. Oh, send them on WhatsApp when you get a chance.
No, because I don't like the way my face was really looking crazy.
Oh,
my sister
said, now I'm going to go get some screenshots and get you in some really weird ones.
My sister keeps seeing me on Channel 7. Apparently, that's the news she watches. And when she saw the thing last week or a couple weeks ago, that is hilarious. But anyway, she always sees it. Also, there's a block captain that wants to do a scheduled cleaning on Saturday the 11th. And she should have the dashboard ready for us to log in, for me to log in, and for people to see where it goes live in the next few days, because they are creating this amazing dashboard, which is good because the county just sent me an email this morning saying, since our meeting, what's the total of lots now? Because we were at like 62, we're at about 82 now, or 85. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the ones that we did yesterday. There were 3 done. There were supposed to be 6, but it was drizzly and 15 people showed up, but they cleared 3 lots really nicely.
It was an odd day.
Yeah, on Highview, north of Palm. So if we get more people to come out on a regular basis, we could really knock these lots out. The only day this week, because we've been going 13 days straight, I said this week I'm taking a breather. So today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, probably. Friday, because it's the 4th is Saturday, we're not going to do Saturday. There's a block captain, I think, on Beverly Way that wants to do Friday. So I'll be able to tell you guys that on the show tomorrow, because I should be here tomorrow too, or the rest of this week. But and the more people we get, the more we can really knock this stuff out. And then now there's a whole group of people that want to talk to me about the commercial district. And I'm like, the commercial building owners need to handle that. That's not something we're doing. But now people want to talk to me about that. So we shall see what happens. So anyway, that's it.
I only got 2 real announcements to make, because the majority of the stuff is not going to happen until next month anyway. But I'm going to jump back over here to, let's see, take that off and add it back. So the next controversial thing, Wildfire Recovery Conversation Program, upcoming community meeting. Join SCE for a community meeting on June 30th, which is tomorrow. Wildfire Recovery Conversation Program participants will share their experiences navigating the program and receiving compensation. So that's tomorrow at 8. Give me a second. I got to stop this phone from ringing because it's really loud in my ear. Tuesday, June 30th from 6 to 8 at Westminster Presbyterian Church at 1757 North Lake Avenue, Pasadena. And go there if you want to find out if you need to get some information. Let's see. The FEMA deadlines have been extended for 1 whole year now, July 9th, 2027. But financial assistance for renters will expire October 9th, 2026. So if you want to get more information, go to lafla.org/fires. July 12th, Stand Up for Students. This is the fundraiser for Pasadena Rosebud Academy. That's going to be at the Alex Theater, 216 North Brand in Glendale. That's Sunday, July 12th at 5:30. Scan the QR code to buy tickets. I will probably get a link for this to send to post up later. So let's see. Post that. I'll copy that and send it later. Moving forward or backwards, one of the two. I think that's it. We got one more thing that's July 21st. I'm not going to announce that. And this one's August 8th. So I'm not going to announce those net because you announce them too early and people won't even remember to go to them. So we like to keep everything kind of recent, like for the week. So tomorrow I'll have more announcements to make. All the other ones we've always announced are still going on, such as the mortgage assistance and things of that nature, but I'll have more time to announce it tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. It's been an hour and 11 minutes of pure clownage. No, I'm just playing. Very informative.
Not clownage.
Information. We're not clowning. We're just speaking the truth. If that's clowning, I guess we are.
My sister said, LOL, you were killing that gum. Because y'all know I cannot chew gum unless it's popped. And that's what you'll see. Oh, she said, killing that gum. We're grateful you showed up for you. And
I love the fact that she could do that to you.
Oh, yeah, that's my sister. Because she knows. She was like, because I was chewing, I was like,
I know you ain't talking to me.
I told her LOL I was. She watched it. So it'll probably run through today on Channel 7. Y'all will see it and see me right behind Nick and be laughing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to pop that link up for those who want to go and get their tickets for the Rosebud Academy fundraiser at the comedy.
I need to get mine. I did tell Sean that she texted to me the other day and I said, we will promote it and be there. She's like, thank you so much.
Now, you know what? I got to find out what day that is. Oh, that's a Sunday. I should be able to be there. I'll purchase my tickets right after the show is over. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We really appreciate it. We had lots of banter today, lots of engagement, and this is what we do this show for, so that you, the audience, can chime in. And this has been a wonderful episode because y'all kept me busy with your damn comments on Instagram that I had to go. What y'all don't understand is that the controller whoever controls, sets up the Instagram, gets to see everything. So in order for everybody else to see everything, I have to copy them and paste them over here. So all your comments that were on Instagram are pasted over here. So everyone got involved. Thank you. Jane Reese Wilkins, Rhonda Mitchell Ryder, Nashawn Dion, CP Barbecue, Jedi Sparkle, Lizzie G, Marcus, Brandon, Cherie, before we lost, because we did lose the Instagram, but I put it back. And Lionessness all joined today. So thank you so much for. I always think, okay, we're just on here talking to ourselves until we such a touchy subject. Now the floodgates are open and everyone's coming out of their shells. I love it.
But that's what this is about, right? Like, how do we make sure the community is informed by having these discussions? And again, when it's people that are new to Altadena, and when I say new, you've been here 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, that's new, right? Because of those of us that have been here, some 70, 60, 50 years, you're new. You're a newbie. And when you are like, oh, we're going to change this, we're going to do that, we're going to blah, 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 like, knock it off. Learn to assimilate and be part of the community, not doing what you think, it's going to be.
Right. Well, folks, Tony's probably got rest to do. I got things to do for the community, of course. And we'll catch you tomorrow.
See y'all later. Toodaloo.